Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Whoop, there we go. I keep forgetting to turn one of the settings off of my voice meter. So, today's topic is going to be Tropical Storm Bret, and we're going to cover it. On my Discord yesterday, I mentioned, I got to make an adjustment here. I mentioned I was keeping an eye on Invest 92L. Well, I woke up today. Here it's a tropical depression. And yeah, I seen that, Cat. Seen you post that earlier. They can take care of that. But then at 5 o'clock, they went ahead and made it a tropical storm. This thing is blowing up pretty quick, and we're going to cover all that. I'm going to wait a little bit further, see if some more people come in here. And yes, I've been watching all the tornado warnings. I mean, Jesus, New Orleans early, and Mississippi, Alabama, now North Carolina. So, welcome aboard, everybody. There's so many of them, I can't keep count. I did see a Tier 1 sub. Thank you very much for that. It helps me to keep the command center running here in Southwest Ohio. So, I'll wait a little bit longer. I'm showing 40. We'll get some more people in here. There, you can see my new sticker at the bottom with all the information from Tropical Storm Bret. 40 mile per hour winds, pressure's 1,008 millibars. That's nothing to really get excited about just yet, and it's moving west at 21 miles per hour, and it's outrunning itself in a way. A little bit of vertical shear happening. It's keeping it from totally growing. But we'll take a gander at the models here in a little bit. As far as Saturday went, oh my God, I had a blast. My son had bought a couple folding camping chairs. And my grandson had no idea what we was up to. He thought we was going camping, seeing two brand new camping chairs. And we drove all the way down there, which he fell asleep. The Edgewater Drag Strips website said gates open at 9. So we got down there at 8. We wanted to be, the first ones in line to get the best parking place with my handicap. And we get there. Oh, sorry, we don't open till noon. Well, you need to fix your website. And yeah, I missed you guys too. I was listening in to the chase. I couldn't key up once we got inside at noon. I couldn't key up because there was no signal. Edgewater Drag Strip is down in a valley next to the Great Miami River, and I had no signal whatsoever. But we went and got breakfast, and I'm showing 46, almost enough to get started here. We went and got breakfast, come back. The guy that was behind us with a yellow Camaro, we got talking to him. Had a good old time just waiting, and then we get in there, and it was such a long day. It was 7 hours before, or over 7 hours before the jet engine dragsters and the wheel standers actually run. But they had 4 jet engine rails and 4 jet engine funny cars, 2 wheel standers, 220 mile an hour outlaw super mods, and a whole bunch of gassers. If you don't know what a gasser is, that's a drag car that's got a straight axle front end. The front end sets higher than the rear. Very fast cars. And it was a great time. They had fireworks at the end and everything. Good fireworks display. It was what they call the night under fire. And it was gorgeous. I got some pictures and stuff to show you guys a little bit later once we get started. or get finished with the tropical weather. I got 58 people, so let's go ahead and see what's up. So this is from the National Hurricane Center, and no, I didn't get to record anything for YouTube. I do have some videos though that my son took. I didn't take any pictures or anything. So anyway, here we got Bret, and 40 mile per hour, 1,008 millibars, 21 mile per hour to the west. To the west. That's going to come down here around the Leeward and Windward Islands, and it's a long ways from there. I'll zoom in on this so you can see it a little bit better. We do have another disturbance back here. This is Invest 93L. I'll have to keep an eye on that one because I think this one's got a better chance of doing something. This one, there's two main scenarios with this. If it stays weaker, it will go west. Okay? If it gets stronger, it's going to go this way. And the reason for that is not only its rotational value, but and I'll show you here in the models here in a little bit, there is a high pressure ridge over in here that's going to get dwindled down in strength because we got this front over here, and when that comes across, it'll erode that high pressure system. What happens when there's no high pressure? Remember, I always say high pressure is like a big old bully. It likes to shove things around. Hey, thanks for the sub, Kills. So if that high pressure weakens, and we'll end up with a trough across here, which is low pressure, that'll allow this thing to make a northern turn. But the models are pretty much coming together and saying that it's going to continue west, hit the islands. You know, there's St. John and a bunch of other islands down there in the Leeward and Windward Islands, and then it'll weaken. So here we can look at the official track. Now, the Hurricane Center is saying this is going to turn into a hurricane, and depending on which model you look at, it could be either a Cat 1 or Cat 2, maybe a little stronger. But this is the National Hurricane Center's forecast. This is the islands I was talking about. Nice island chain. I don't know if any of you've ever been to St. John. That's on my bucket list someday, maybe. I'd love to go there. But beautiful islands. It's going to be some flooding issues the way it's looking. So on some of the model tracks, and let's pick up the global and hurricane tracks. You know, some of them's got it turning to the north, some of it's got it going to the west. And the reason why they're not real confident right now is hurricane hunters can't go out there. Let's get over here to the studio. So, actually, no. Let's go to the main screen. And here you can see over by Charlotte, that tornado warning. I better mention that. It doesn't look all that great to me. There's been a bunch of different tornado warnings there in North Carolina. But I want to come down here and let's turn on infrared so you can see the storm. This is Bret right here. This is Invest 93L. Okay. So, the reason why they don't know for sure is they can totally only go by the satellite image right now. It's too far away for the hurricane hunters to fly out there. Now, tomorrow, We get over here to monitor 6. And here is the aerial reconnaissance page. And they're not doing anything today because, like I say, it's too far away. But tomorrow, there's 2 flights that they are expecting to do tomorrow. This is one. It'll be the NOAA 49, which is a G4 aircraft. And then they're also going to send the P3 out there, which has a tail Doppler. It should be close enough at its current speed that these 2 aircraft can go out there and reach it. So what does that mean for now? We're not exactly sure how strong this thing is. Is the upper level rotation keeping up with the hey Sharon, as of right now, Sharon, I don't think you got anything to worry about, at least not out of Bret. So right now it seems there's a lot of verticals here, which means that the upper level rotation is not in the same place. It's shifted because the lower area rotation is moving fast, 21 mile per hour. It's moving faster than the upper level. Can't quite keep up with it. So that's what we're seeing on satellite right now. But we'll know a lot more tomorrow when the hurricane hunters get out there and find out exactly what's going on with this thing. Hey, Stacy. So here's a close-up radar image, or satellite image. This is infrared. And it's a little hard to pick out exactly where the center is. It seems to be... Let's get to the end of the loop. It seems to be about right there. Okay? At the end of the loop. It appears to be right in there. So, let's change plot and let's go true color. You can see she's got some pretty good spin and pretty good outflow. But notice these clouds from the northeast coming down, where the outflow, these eyebrows are swinging away from it. Now, one thing that I did notice, and let's get a static image. Let's go back. And let's get into the models. So I got to change region. Let's look at the tropical. And this is Bret down here, okay? Let me zoom in on this. It's got a real nice moisture plume all the way around it. So does 93L. Real nice, abundant moisture in that area. Relative humidity. I think that's the one I want to look at. Yes, this is the one. Here you can see the moisture plume that it's in. It's really nice right now, right? But when we move it ahead, look what happens here, guys. All the moisture is off the center. I haven't put together a class just yet. I've been thinking about it, but I don't want to give away all my secrets. But anyway, all the moisture here is all lopsided. It's way up on the northeast side. Let me reset this to 100%. Now here I'm looking way up in the atmosphere. But here's one of the real problems right now is the Bermuda High. This is Bermuda right here. And this big old high pressure system here. Now this is showing on Tuesday, tomorrow, 997 millibars. And I move it ahead. And some of the models, it's got it getting really strong, but look how lopsided it is. And that's because the lower area rotation is moving faster than the upper area rotation. It's outrunning itself, per se. This is the GFS model, by the way. And some models showing it being a hurricane when it hits these islands. Now, back here is 93L. Watch what happens to it. Bret's going to come up here, hit Puerto Rico, really get weak, and just disappear. Whereas 93L is making that turn. Why? Because the high pressure ridge that ends up forming back here, over in here, is going to erode when this trough comes down. And that's going to allow this 93L to turn north. Now, will it be a hurricane? It's not looking like it on the GFS. She does a little wobbling. All of a sudden, this system shows up. The leftover remnants of Bret comes back, and they merge. But it's so weak, we don't have to worry about it. Okay? So let's look at vorticity on this. Oh, cut that out. Let's look at the 850 or 5,000 feet. This is Bret. And this is 93L. And I'll move this ahead. And Bret looks really strong here on the GFS at this point. But then she gets over here. She's pretty strong. She hits the islands and then just starts to fade out, where 93L stays compact and fairly strong. But then it gets sucked up to the north, where it's going to eventually merge with the remnants of Bret and just turn into a mess. Okay? So, but I got to keep an eye on this one. This one could be sneaky. 93L could be sneaky. So let's get back over to the Hurricane Center. Let's do interactive map. I'll put the track on for you guys for Bret. And we'll zoom in here. Right before it gets to the islands, they're showing 100 mile per hour. That's a Cat 2. Okay? That's a Category 2, 100 mile per hour winds. So this is, the Hurricane Center's forecast. And then after it passes the islands, it's down to 90 mile per hour, which would be a Cat 1. And then it'll weaken from there. So I got to say this, guys, and I say this every year on Hurricane Center. This cone, don't go by that center line. That's the center of the cone. It could go anywhere on either side of that center line. So it could go up here to Puerto Rico, or it could go over and hit Cuba. Or it may totally miss them and come in the Western Caribbean and die out. Some of the models is actually showing that when we come over here to the main. And looking at GR Earth, you can see some of the models. This is the TVCN model, is actually showing it at 61 knots. I'd have to look that up. I'm not exactly sure, but it's well below Cat 2 stage at this point. It'll be really weak. Well, according to this, it'll be tropical storm, so it won't even be a Cat 1 at this point. But that model shows it come over here in the Caribbean and just dying. Some of these other models, it's got it turning up here, like I showed you the remnants. After it falls apart, then she comes up here, but it's going to be a tropical depression at that point. And then we got some of these models here that are turning it north. And it all depends on how strong it gets over the next couple of days. The stronger it is, the better chance it's going to turn to the north. The weaker it is, the more chance it's going to go to the west. So with satellite images, we're just not sure at this point. I mean, that's all we can go by until hurricane hunters get out there. So, do. What was it? There was something else I was going to show you guys. Well, let's go back to. Let me get the page back. Over here to monitor 6 again. So that's Bret. Now let's look at 93L. Here it is up close, infrared. She don't have a true center of rotation, but man, look at these thunderstorms over on the northwest side. Those are really strong, tall clouds right there. So the bolder the colors, the taller the storm is. So there seems to be possibly a little bit of circulation down in this area, but it's not well defined. It's pretty much just a disturbance at this point. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. The black, that's just how tall. And what infrared does, let's get back over here to studio. What infrared does, it looks at temperature of the clouds. And you got to think, the higher up you go, the colder it gets. So the colors get bolder on my infrared satellite. So that's telling me those are really strong, really tall storms at that point. The bolder the colors, the whites, the blacks, the real bright colors and bold colors tell me that that's really cold tops on the clouds, which means it's really taller. Hey, Mama, thank you for that tier 1 sub. 12 months now. Sweet. So as far as the models go, back over here to monitor 6. It's real early on the guidance right now, but you can see most of the models already are in agreement. This thing is going to turn to the north. Here's the islands over here. So even though they spread out a little bit, but basically they're all pretty much saying the same thing. Any questions at that point? As far as, let's get this back to the main page. They're saying in the next 48 hours, the next 2 days, we got a medium chance at 50% of formation on 93L. 7-day is only 60%, so that's still medium chance. But as you can see, it's not that far off of Africa. Both of these came from Africa, and I'll tell you what, guys, this is amazing. This is a record for Bret. Our first tropical storm in the Atlantic in the month of June has never been that far to the east. And when I come back over and let's get that off. Let's go over big screen here. So our main area formation for the month of June is here. And a little bit here. For the month of May and June both, this is the key areas of formation. This is where the average of our tropical weather this time of year is going to form. We generally don't get anything, and I'll turn the NHC off. We generally don't get any of this stuff coming off of Africa this time of year. This kind of stuff is what we see in August and September, maybe some in late July. So to have formation of Bret and 93L, I can't hardly write with a mouse. And this part of the ocean, it's rare. It's been, I think the last time was back in the 50s. But Yeah, this is rare. But the reason why, and I can show you back over here on monitor 6, when we look at analysis tools, let's look at ocean analysis, and this is the anomalies. White is average, okay? I'd better do this in blue. Here's our El Nino section right here. Look how above average that is. Blue is below average temp. Red and yellows and oranges is above average temp. But look at this right here. This is weird. Usually for El Nino, the Atlantic cools down. But it's not cooling down. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because that Bermuda high that I showed you guys is a weak Bermuda high. Usually when we go into El Nino, we'll have a really strong Bermuda high, and it just stirs up the waters in the main development region, which I got to get this over here. This is our main development region right here. So when we got a big old strong Bermuda high, it stirs up these waters, and the cold water that's down below comes to the surface. Well, when the top of the ocean is colder, it would be in blue on the anomaly chart. And that's less fuel for tropical weather. And that's the reason why during El Nino, we don't see hardly any or very low numbers of tropical storms in the Atlantic. But that's not happening. This high right here is weak. It don't have really strong enough winds blowing across to stir up those waters right now. So the Atlantic is like super warm. I haven't listened a whole lot of stuff about that Canadian sub. It was a 21-foot sub that was going to go visit the Titanic. And after, it was over an hour and a half, something like that, I think they said, they lost communication with it. That was yesterday. So they're still out there searching. I did watch some of a video from the Coast Guard that is working with the Canadian Coast Guard. They have multiple planes out there looking. They even have planes that normally search for military subs, Navy subs, that can actually look for it below the surface. So they're still out there trying to find it, but it's not looking good. Those small subs, again, it's a 5-man sub. It's only 21 feet long. They don't have a whole lot of air. And I haven't watched the video yet, but the tag on it was that particular sub has had multiple problems. No, the trade winds go from east to west, down there by the equator. The trade winds go from east to west. They'll get really weak winds, which means warmer waters that don't get stirred up during La Nina. El Nino is supposed to be cooler waters because of the trade winds, thanks to the Bermuda. A strong Bermuda high would stir up the water. All the cold water comes to the surface, and it cools everything down. Somehow or another, they totally lost their tracking information and everything, Sharon. So I need to do some more investigation on it. But I tell you what, being that they lost contact yesterday, and they're not seeing it on the surface anywhere. They've got multiple C-130s from Canada and the U.S. that's out there looking at the surface, as well as ones that's got the radar system that can look below the surface, and they're not finding it. the last Coast Guard update a couple hours ago, they still hadn't found it. So it's not looking good for them guys. I got the feeling we lost all 5. That was a Canadian research submarine. So it wasn't a military submarine. And there was one clickbait that I seen that made it sound like it was a military submarine, but it wasn't. So that's what I got for the tropical storm. I'll probably be doing another stream tomorrow about it. But so there was a couple things I want to show you. Talked a little bit about Saturday. I'll go into more detail in a minute about Saturday. No, it doesn't cross the equator. They're typically either north of the equator or south would be a cyclone. Okay, Sharon, let me check and see if I got your beacon. Florida. There we go. No, it didn't go. What the heck? I clicked on the wrong one. Sharon, you may not be in our place file. So I may not see it. I thought you was in our place file. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm not sure where Melbourne is. I'm not seeing any of our beacons down there. Yeah, I wonder why it's not showing up. Oh, that's a track. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything up here at all with radar turned off. I'm not seeing any beacons. Gary. Our Gary from SVL, I don't think he's in our place file anymore, our new one. So, let me turn that radar back on before I close it. So, let's get back over here to Maine. Before I show you some stuff from the drag strip, which I didn't end up getting a whole lot, I want to show you yesterday. I did a little short drone video. We had a Father's Day party. Before I show you that, let's get back over here. It was supposed to be a private party. One of my neighbors, they're going to be moving to California. And their little girl plays with my grandson, Junior, all the time. And she's leaving tomorrow. So we was going to have a private party with our family and their family. What ends up happening is the whole freaking complex shows up. Everybody invited themselves. So let's get over here to Maine and I'll show you the little drone video I did. So this is my neighbor's mother that flew in from California down here. And there was more people. They're not all showing up in the video, but I'll play it here. Yeah, I talked to Nathan earlier today. after I got up, and he said the next chase will be Wednesday in Colorado. So the stuff tomorrow up there in North and South Dakota is going to go linear real quick. So our little private party turned into most of our apartment complex. But we had a lot of fun. Normally Sean is the grill master around here when we have our backyard parties. And there's JJ's mother from California, and she grills all the time. So she pretty much took over being the grill master. And she come up with some spices you can't even find out here. So, and that's the little girl that Junior plays with all the time, by the way. And she's going to be leaving out tomorrow, flying to California with Grandma. And that's Grandma there. And so Junior won't have nobody to play with anymore. I don't think JJ's on our new place file either. That's Junior. That's my grandson. Still wearing his shirt from Saturday night. And I'll tell you about that story. So, there I get the whole crew. From a few hundred feet up. I just had to do that for remembering Father's Day for me and Sean. And it was really cool. Junior bought us some gifts. I got a brand new 5-cup coffee pot, and I got this. I hope you could read that. You are the best pawpaw in the world. Pawpaw Bear. And this thing's heavy. It's solid glass. It's really, really heavy. So, and he got Sean some cool stuff too for Father's Day. It was really great. So, to tell you about Saturday. It's been a really eventful weekend. So Saturday, like I said earlier, we went to a local drag strip. It's about an hour away. Used to be my home track 40 years ago. When I lived east of Cincinnati, it was my home drag strip, Edgewater Parkway, or Edgewater Park. And so I haven't been there in 40 years. And Sean was just a baby, so he don't even remember being at the track. So it was all new for him. And I actually ran into some people, a couple of people that used to race there 40 years ago. And it was really cool to meet up with them again after all these years. I didn't even recognize him, but one guy, he started telling the story. There was 2 huge oak trees in back of the beginning of the track, and the jet and dragsters caught them on fire 40 years ago. Them trees are long gone. But over here on the main, this gal here, Dawn Purdue, she drove that jet engine dragster there on the screen. And she was a sweetheart. And really nice, really beautiful. And Junior's in love with her. His little 12-year-old body just turned into a 16-year-old hormone Susie seen her. It was funny. But she wrote a really nice note because, you got to remember, this is Junior's first time ever at a drag strip. And so she wrote a real nice note on here for him. Enjoy your first race day, 2023. And she put a little heart on there for him. And that's all it took. So what was really cool is she let him sit in the car. There he is, sitting in a jet engine dragster. I never got to do that, and I raced for over 30 years. But that's Junior. He's sitting down. He actually got to sit in his car 2 different times. And this is that's the second time that he got in it. It was really cool. But that wasn't the only thing. I don't have the posters, but for this guy, this is one of the gassers. And there he is. He got to sit inside the gasser. And that's another gasser to the right there, that gold one. This guy with the red one, that was I think a 44 Willys body. And there he is. That guy was really cool. And there he is with a helmet on. Next thing I know, he's got the steering wheel on, because they take off the steering wheel so they can get out. I had that set up too. So he's got the steering wheel on the steering column, and he's holding it, and he grabbed the guy's helmet, and the guy said, "Sure, go ahead." So he puts the helmet on. There he is. You could tell on his face, he had a great big smile going on. And there he is with the helmet on. Yeah, Ed was really cool. Then there was a guy owed this black Anglia with a big engine in it. He got to go sit in it too. It's like, come on now. I never got to sit any of those. Then he went over to the next car, which was a 55 Chevy gasser, and he got to sit in it. Oh, that's him riding a neighbor's scooter the other day. And get this. Let me pause this. These are junior dragsters. So he met up with his 13-year-old girl. And because he's interested in getting into a junior dragster. They're just little fellers. They go 85 mile per hour top speed. And they invited him to walk up to the starting line to help first help push the car, and then get up on the starting line. So here's Junior, and the girl's father's right there, and this is Junior walking up the track. You don't normally do that if you're not on a race team. These suckers are loud. They run alcohol. There he is, doing her little burnout. Oh man. And I tell you what was really cool, because I did this with Sean. Sean was quite a bit younger. I mean, he started out as a baby going to racetrack with me. And so oops. That's the second. She ran oops. I may have turned that down. So he had a blast. Now this is the two wheel standers. This is an old timey fire truck, and that's a PT Cruiser. This white one over here. So, oh man. These are two of the jet engine funny cars getting ready to take off. This is a Mustang over here. Twice he went to take off from the starting line, and one of his parachutes come out. 2 times in a row. That black guy there was the one that I used to race against back 40 years ago. Maybe you need to turn this down a little bit. There, Junior. Look at that. Now back here behind this fence is where those two oak trees was that are no longer there. That's Junior hollering. So they didn't get them taking off. But I don't know if you noticed, they were kind of like playing music there. Actually, there at the beginning when they was popping the Afterburners, it was the theme song to Pirates of the Caribbean, which the guy in the blue car on the left, his car was named the Black Pearl. And get this ahead a little bit. This is Dawn's car in the far lane. She ended up doing 280 miles an hour in half track. This is a quarter-mile track. They was going so fast that for safety's sake, they only let them run an eighth of a mile. And she did 280 mile per hour in an eighth mile. Not this run, though. So they have to pop those afterburners as how they get moving forward. There is no direct drive on this. Hey, DJ. Let's see what I got here. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Oh, here's that gal. I never got a picture with her. Never got a picture with her. But Junior did. I would have liked for her to be my girlfriend, but Junior done went and stole her from me. Now, the last run of them, uh, Junior filmed it, but sadly he had it in slow motion. Okay, accidentally put it in slow motion recording, so I had to speed it up. The bad thing is there is no audio. This was probably close to 11 o'clock that night. I had to speed it up 400% in order to get it up to normal speed. I should have probably did a zoom in, but the camera was so shaky. Junior was so excited that Sean ended up grabbing the camera so Junior could plug his ears. Because I tell you what, when these things go by, it will puncture your eardrums. But sadly, neither one of them got video of them actually going down the track. Now, at the beginning of the day, we was sitting at the other end of this grandstand area, down right in front of the starting line. Now we moved down here because I wanted Junior to feel when they took off like that right there, as they went past, the concussion from that jet engine actually shoved you away from the fence. I used to see that up north when first time I took Sean to see jet engine dragsters. We watched them from down by the starting line, but then we went like half track and started and got up against the fence. And when that comes down of a night, you can actually see a concussion wave. Sort of like from like a bomb does. It puts out a big wave of energy. That you could just barely see of a night, but you can see it when they're coming down the track. And it's funny to watch people up against that fence. It's like dominoes. They'll sit there and start flipping away from the fence as the car passes them. And it's the wind and the thunder off of that jet engine is so tremendous. It's hard to explain. So that's pretty much all I got to show you. We had a great time. Oh my God. My hip, my left leg is still hurting. And both me and Sean, our feet was hurting. And it was funny after it was all over with, which during the fireworks, Junior's still all pumped up and everything. So when it's all over with, we go back to the car, well, the van, and we get in, and it's a real long line to get back to the road. And before we even got to the road, Junior was already asleep. He was worn out. And it was so cool. He didn't last 10 minutes once he got in the back seat of the van. Oh, yeah, these are memories that kid will have for the rest of his life. I did it with Sean when he was a lot younger than Junior. And then he even got into cars and racing. And now Junior, he's already wanting to get a Junior dragster. But I tell you what, those little Junior dragsters, like I showed you, about $21,000. The motor alone is $6,000. And it's a one-cylinder, sort of looks like a lawnmower engine. But it's loud. It's surprising. They run alcohol, and I'm sure one of them had a little bit of nitro put in his fuel because I could smell it. It kind of burns your nose and your eyes when you smell the nitro. Now the jet engine dragsters, they weren't running jet fuel. Jet fuel is so hard to get right now and so expensive, they can't afford it. So they're actually running diesel fuel kerosene mix in them things, and still able to get enough horsepower, which is over 10,000 horse, to do 280 mile an hour in an eighth of a mile, half the track. It was amazing. It was so cool, guys. It's just hard to explain. I never took one picture or one video all day long because I was having so much fun with the grandson and even Sean. But mostly my fun was the grandson experiencing something that he never had. Just like when I took him to see the wolves, and I paid for him to go inside with me with the wolves. So full weekend. I was all set to do storm chasing tomorrow, but Nathan said it will be Wednesday in Colorado, I guess. So let's see what Colorado shows over here on Monitor 6. Storm Prediction Center. Right now, it's only a 5% marginal, but this will come around. It'll be at least a slight 2%, if not better. But this is tomorrow. This real thin 2%. Me and Nathan was talking. It's going to line out and go linear. You don't want to chase some things. It's garbage. As far as storm chasing goes. So probably up here in northeast Colorado. Or western Nebraska, somewhere, probably in this area right here is where Wednesday's chase should be, as of right now. So that's all I've got for tonight, guys. I will keep an eye if there is a major change, which I think there's going to be, on Tropical Storm Bret. Again, there in the news ticker, you can see the latest information I have. The next update won't be until 11 o'clock tonight. So, it's tropical storm status, winds 40 mile per hour, 1,008 millibars, and it's moving west at 21 miles per hour. So that's the latest I got for today. And we'll keep an eye on it and probably give you some more information after the hurricane hunters go through there tomorrow. And I get some new information. So most likely, I say about a 99% chance I'll be streaming again tomorrow night. It's early in the season. I'm wound up and ready to let you guys all know about this tropical stuff and get to explain it to the new people along the way. So for the new followers that I seen pop up, thank you very much for joining me. Be sure and keep those notifications turned on so you'll know when I go live again. And thanks for all the subs. Greatly appreciate any direct donations or subs to help me out keeping all this running, my 10 monitor system. So thank you all very much. For you new people, we always say here at the end of the night, peace. Pop a top for me. Way to go, Kills. Perfect timing. We'll catch you on the next broadcast. Y'all have a great night.